we live, we lit with Chief Pontiac in the building, man. It's a lot going on in the world today, man. We got a lot going on, but Sight Pipe in the building, man. Hit that like button. About to get ready to go in, cracking heads and twisting caps. We got about 200 people in here, man. Hey, share it right now on your Facebook and your Instagram, man. Let them know Chief Pontiac live in the building, man. About to crack heads and twist the cap. They mad at the mailman, man. Well, hey, the mailman deliver you some mail. You open that shit up and it don't say what you like. You gonna beat the mailman up? What kind of shit is this, man? Come on, man. They beating the mailman.
Listen,
Go ahead, Rod.
listen. We don't get offended, right? We just provide more receipts because apparently the provided receipts prior wasn't sufficient to um for people to see what I was doing clear enough. So we don't get all pumped up, go to gorilla mode. Cause see, people think I like the internet, right? They think that all I do is sit on the internet. No, right? I sit back, I watch. When there's something need to be said, I come out and say it. I show you the receipts of what I'm talking about so you have a frame of reference. We've been disoriented from our frame of reference, and there's a lot about our culture that we don't remember. But we're going to go into some of that today. So, we want to start off by let's pull up Chief Pontiac first, Elder. I know that ain't the order we were supposed to go, but
Hey, Raw, you want me to pull up the pictures you sent me on the Chief Pontiac?
you know the one that tell them who he was. It's a
Okay,
little.
I got you. I got you.
Now, when you got the blood in the right, you inherit the responsibility of your ancestors to finish whatever work they was working on when they left. If you functional and capable of finishing the work, you're responsible to finish the work. So Chief Pontiac
Right.
died, right, by one of the soldiers in his clans killed him, but he was in the middle of a war with the French. They didn't agree with his war strategy, so he got defted by another tribesman. Now, when we looking at what the responsibility is to get the invaders off the land right now. They function as if they all over the place, but they only in a few pockets.
Here we go. Cause I was like, man, no, it ain't. Cause it's all.
Why you don't turn the thumbnail so to show all the pictures?
That's what I'm gonna do.
That's a. Then you'll know what DSD is. That one right there. Yeah. Now, the reason why I'm showing this is because the responsibility that I inherit. Right. That's it.
There we go.
Perform the function of the war. Right? Let's say Pontiac was an Ottawa war chief. First line come out of their mouth, right? He's an Ottawa war chief.
Mm-hmm.
So we inherit these responsibilities if we capable of fulfilling the function, right? And we can pull rank by blood and by right. But when you run into somebody else that's an elder, you're not supposed to tell the elders what to do. You're supposed to present what you're presenting to them in hopes that they see what's transpiring on the land.
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're paying attention, then my receipts make sense. If you're not paying attention, I sound like a babbling idiot,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's show them the message that I got.
You want to go to the next slide?
You- Yeah, go to the message I got. They had a chance to read that.
Yeah.
Show them
So
the
they
message
saying
I got. That's not it.
they saying no. I'm gonna go to it right
That
here.
wasn't
It's
it.
right here.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Oh
The
no. Okay. I
message.
know. I know the mission. I know which one you talking about. I know which one you talking about. Yeah. Hey, so they saying raw. Hey, you. Hey, raw. Because you ain't get your paperwork
Just
from the
just
white man.
just pull the message up. Just pull the message up. Let the message speak for itself.
I got you. No, I'm not talking about the mission. I'm not talking about what the mission say. Hey, you want to read it?
Okay, now
There you go.
this is from Ishmael Bay, and this is what he told me. How can I call myself a chief but don't have a diplomatic recognized nation or tribe? Everybody know what tribe I'm from, unless you ain't paying attention to what I'm talking about, right? They know my chief is Larry Hoover. We what you call outlaw clans. We're gonna get into what an outlaw tribe is in a minute. They also call non-treaty tribes.
Go ahead.
We don't have a contract with the corporation, so there's no status quo that I have to keep to satisfy anything with the corporation. This is the exile, right?
Yeah. Go
Now
ahead.
watch. This is directly against the culture right here. What you should be teaching people. He can't tell me what I should be doing.
Go ahead, Rod.
He can offer a suggestion, but he can't tell me because he don't know what I'm doing. Don't mean I don't know what I'm doing, right? But he telling me what I need to be doing. Teaching people is international law, human rights, etc.
We
We
already
got
talked.
enough motherfuckers. Listen, we got enough motherfuckers teaching human rights. You got all of your clubs and your organizations teaching human rights. They don't need me for that shit.
Go ahead.
International law is the law of nations. Admiralty and maritime jurisdiction has been overthrown. So international law no longer apply in the same capacity it did in 2017,
Go ahead, Rod.
right? But if you're not aware of what's taking place with this global front that's approaching your front door, you won't never see what's coming because it's here,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay, now he said me I could speak this stuff for years, but our people still will be held under servitude. You're not teaching the people how to liberate themselves. You sitting on Instagram all day is not making no movement for our people for liberation. Now, the reason why he don't, I know he haven't been paying attention because he would have knew a long time ago. I told them that there is a group of chiefs in Raven Rock, Colorado, with a group of military generals in a continuity of government that's watching me to know what move our people need to make next in order to finish collapsing the old corporate fiction and raising the government of the tribal nations. The problem is everybody who needed an opportunity to abandon the contract, right?
Go ahead.
Abandoning the contract is the only legal defense. So you take your ass to DC if you want to and think that you finna be part of negotiating the contract of anything in DC, you setting yourself up for failure.
Let's go. Let's get it.
We the tribes, it's see, they talk about recognized tribes. Five tribes, I'm representing over 500 tribes,
Let's go. Let's get it.
right? But we got to deal with the contracts between the five civilized tribes versus the ones who refuse the contract that they used to call savage.
Go ahead.
Savage mean that you are outlaw on the land that you're not part of the fiction. I don't have to do business with the corporation. But anything the corporation use in a system to oppress us, I can turn it around and use it against them. That's our culture,
Go ahead.
right? So, um, this is the foundation of what we're talking about in this. Now, first, let's go to the slide. I'm gonna show you which one to pull up, Elder.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
There's one got highlight on it. It's at the
Yeah.
bottom.
In the order you sent me, this.
That one right there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
This one right here. Okay, all right. I also got that TikTok video that you said too.
We may not get to that today. This is more important.
Come on, baby. What's she doing? What's she doing?
Okay, so to give y'all understanding when I say an
Yeah.
outlaw tribe, right? It says a secondary meaning of outlaw
Yep.
is the person who systematically avoids capture by evasion and violence. These meanings are related and overlapping, but not necessarily identical. A fugitive who is declared outside protection of law in one jurisdiction, but who receives asylum and lives openly and obedient to local laws in another jurisdiction is an outlaw in the first meaning, but not in the second, right? So a famous general named Napoleon was branded an outlaw by the crown. But when they sent the soldiers to execute him, they liberated him from prison, came back and took the crown, and that's how he became Napoleon the Great.
Yeah.
Right? Now, as an outlaw tribe, I don't follow the judicial system of the legal fiction. That don't got nothing to do with me. I follow all laws and policies set forth by my chairman and executive staff according to my literature. Right? So let's go back again. I'm gonna get another one.
All right, let's get it.
Okay, let's go to let's start from the bottom.
All right, start from the bottom. All right, start from the bottom. That was a letter, and then this right here was the next one. This right here. Wonder why this shit taking so long to load up. Okay. In common law, that was the one that was after that one.
Yeah. Now this is about a legal explanation of outlawry, right? It came out of a term from England, common law of England, a writ of outlawry. That means that made a pronouncement, caput lupinum, let he be as a wolf's head, right? Remember, we wore wolves.
That's right.
They were vampires from Europe, bloodsuckers
right.
from Europe.
That's right.
Right? Equating that person with a wolf in the eyes of the law. Not only was the subject deprived of all legal rights being outside the law, but others could kill him on sight as if he were a wolf or other wild animal.
Werewolf.
Right?
Right there.
Now watch this. Women were declared waived rather than outlawed, but it was effectively the same punishment. Slide over to the other side, Elder.
I got you. Let me roll down a little bit. Boom. All right. Can you see it right there?
Yeah. Your picture in the way. Say there have been several instances, or political conflicts throughout history whereby one side declared at the other as being illegal. Right? Now, all our tribes believe that the United States Corporation is an illegal enterprise operating on our soil.
Right.
but they got contracts with the civilized tribes.
Go ahead.
Remember that. Remember that, because that's important as I go through this. It say notorious cases being the use of prescription in the civil wars of the Roman Republic. In later times, there's a notable case of Napoleon Bonaparte, whom the Congress of Vienna on the 13th of March, 1815, declared had deprived himself of the protection of the law.
Go ahead.
Outlaw tribes don't believe that we have the protection of the law or ever had the protection of the law.
Go ahead.
We believe that the law has been used as a weapon against us, the outlaw tribes on the land, operating in the capacity of a sovereign nation on the land. But every time we start organizing our clans in order to oust the imposters, they send somebody called the FBI in there and other infiltrators to try to overthrow the tribes. They don't want us organized. Growing into this position as a war chief, right, it becomes my responsibility, if I know a solution, to play the game in the public domain. For the rest of the chiefs, this is how they haze me. And that's why my last name Hayes, because I'm the one got to get hazed. I got to go out here and try to explain to people what these people doing and show them with enough receipts that they become fully conscious of what's taking place with this legal fiction.
Go ahead.
And that's how we break free. So why am I using the internet? I'm using the internet because there's chiefs all over the land that I communicate with using my videos as the cover story. They know where I'm at. It's chiefs and generals to the U.S. military in Raven Rock, Colorado, listening to my videos so they can know which move to make next.
Go ahead.
Right? So we already overthrew the Vatican. We flew 650 planes, cargo planes of our gold back home from the Vatican when we overthrew the Pope. The crest was knocked off of Buckingham Palace when we overthrew the Queen. Now all we had to do was deal with the martial law arm, or the military arm, being the military industrial complex. So when you seen Trump come out with all of those generals, or what I would say Army brass, this is Googleable, which is minimal research. You see him come out and say all of the military brass presented Donald Trump, them the advisory team on how to deal with the takeover that was attempted first by the Bush family, then by the Obama clan. They tried to take the government over and continue business as usual. And I keep telling y'all, this is not business as usual.
Go ahead.
Right? So in the Declaration of Indigenous Rights, scroll up.
Declaration of Independence, right? Okay, you want me to go back right here?
Look, go back to that. Okay, go back to that picture.
Right here?
Go back to that picture for a minute.
Which one?
We'll say 500 tribes. It said 500 tribes.
500 tribes.
It's a picture.
Oh, it's a picture. Oh, shit, right here. This one right here.
Yeah. Now, they wrote a book to identify 500 nations. And we only supposed to follow the lead of 5 civilized tribes that's not making the moves in our best interest. I can't tell another chief what to do, but I can show them what I'm doing with the receipts. I'm speaking out here in the public domain because this shit is time-stamped and dated. And anything I say is sufficient for public notice. Notice to Asian is notice to principle. Action, reaction. We move, they move. They move, we move. But this right here, coup de grace, checkmate. Right? This is the free throws that at the end of the game, ain't no more time left on the clock.
That's good.
Right? All right, now we dealing with Indigenous Rights Act. There's an article that tell us to use our oral tradition. Let's go to that.
All right. Right here.
Let me see. That's self-determination. We can start with that.
Okay.
Let's blow that up. Go to the top so you can see. This is Section 1, Indigenous People Scope of Application. Right? The Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People applies to the indigenous people of the Americas. Who do it apply to, Elder?
The indigenous
The ones
people
over here?
Yeah.
Right. Self-identification as indigenous people will be a fundamental criteria for determining to whom this declaration applies. States shall respect the right to such self-identification as indigenous, whether individually or collectively, in keeping with the practice of institutions of each indigenous group. So this is telling you, if we following our customs and traditions, that's self-identification that show you who we is.
That's right.
Right? What they call hip-hop culture is still our culture.
Go ahead.
We had Tupac Amaru in hip-hop. We had Rakim Allah in hip-hop. X-Clan. All of this is influences going all the way back to Kool Herc. Melly Mel. The legends. Right?
Yeah.
So our culture is not interrupted. It's still ongoing, but you have somebody that's still in everything we do.
Go ahead.
I'm here to stop them. This is not a game. This is not a joke. When Sipico put the Pope on public notice, go to the next page, Elder.
All right.
What you passed? You went the wrong way now.
Hold on. Which one?
Back one more.
Right there.
No, the one before that. That one.
Is it this way?
Right there. Blow that up. Yep. That's the one. In the culture, okay, this is Article 14, Systems of Knowledge, Language and Communication. Now, pay attention to number 1 because this is important. Indigenous peoples have the right to preserve, use, develop, revitalize. I mean, if it's something that we used to use, we can use it again, which is grandfather clause, and we're going to go over that in a minute. And transmit to future generations their own histories, languages, and oral traditions. Oral traditions is how we pass out information in the public domain. They pass it out in secret in libraries. We send elders out to teach it in the open.
Word of mouth.
Right? This is just part of my public service to the community. That's why I don't charge for nothing I do.
That's right.
This ain't got nothing to do with no money. I don't got nothing monetized on nothing I do, and I don't care if somebody else monetizes.
Right.
That's just helping getting the word throughout the community that we back for every motherfucking thing these people owe.
That's right. Let's go.
I gave them the instructions in the video. If you follow, hey, I want you to post this video, Elder. $1 trillion buyback.
Oh yeah,
it's $1 trillion recovery.
Yeah. Send that link to me.
Okay, so now that's when I was telling them how to recover everything by buying, controlling interest in everything moving. We have access to Big Mama's vault now. Once we buy controlling interest in everything, Then we take over as a hostile takeover. We seize everything because we got the first position to right already. And now we working with dealing with the rights of the people collectively, the other tribes that they don't recognize in their law. That's why they named us black Negroes and colored folks. I got them receipts too. They'll be posted on my Instagram and Facebook. All these receipts will be posted, right? So if we supposed to go back to our oral traditions, I'm agreeing. How do you know I'm agreeing? Because I can recite history across varying different tribes and tell you what happened.
Go ahead.
How did we get here? Where did we come from? Who mixed with who where? That slave story is a goddamn lie.
That's right.
I can tell you this because I had to investigate it before I ever became an elder. I'm studying the problems that I found in state of emergency by Kwanzaa Kunjufu, who declared a state of emergency for us to deal with as elders when it comes our turn, young elder.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So why phase one so passionate about Baba? He supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like his little grand.
He supposed to be. That right. He supposed to be. So he got his ways. We a certain way about how we move. Right? We don't move the same because if everybody moved the same, we would cause a calamity and be all in everybody's way.
Right.
This, what I'm doing on the internet, is following the path of least resistance to reach the most amount of people to tell them that this shit is truly over. Let's find something else to talk about. Turn to another slide.
Okay.
Okay, this right here is SCOTUS ruled in the landmark case United States versus Throckmorton. The fraud vitiates everything. We already showed them the fraud when they went behind our back and wrote that contract in the blood of Crispus Attucks to put us in the conjure war.
Go ahead.
We didn't know that. That's a fraud. It was what you call in law a very vital piece of exculpatory evidence that we could have used to get out of it because we could have forgave the blood if we knew what we was doing back then. That's why they kept it a secret. Only because I'm a witch doctor off this land over here, Mississippi Red Clay Dirt Walking, Hyoka High Chief. This is how I know that all of these frauds was taking place on the land, right? It's by categorically asserting that fraud vitiates everything. The SCOTUS affirms that perpetrating fraud undermines the entire endeavor, the whole contract, the complete judgment, the final result, or election outcomes, etc. Notice it say election outcomes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, now all of this is part of it. Once the fraud is proven, the enterprise in its entirety, such as POTUS candidacy, has been irreparably tainted and the result invalidated. In order words, I think that's supposed to be, nope, it's saying order words. If it was only the Michigan vote was stolen by Team Biden, their victory would still have been nullified since fraud vitiates everything. Right? All of these contracts is predicated up on a constructed fraud by trying to convince the people you they government. They not our government. They are private enterprise operating in the capacity of government as a legal fiction to defraud the people out of what they call tax dollars. So in our oral tradition, by me putting this shit in the public domain, that make it time-stamped and dated. That's fucking evidence. It's archivable evidence. This is why I'm on the internet.
This shit might go over their head, bro. Go ahead.
They gonna have to come up to the level then. If they ain't on this level, they ain't understanding what I'm saying, right? Let's go to the next one. Ex post facto law. This is leading up to the grandfather clause. The ex post facto law is from the Latin for the action or after the fact, also called retroactive law, is a law of retroactivity challenges the legal consequences or status of actions that were committed or relationships that existed before the enactment of the law, right? Conversely, a form of ex post facto law, commonly called amnesty law, may be decriminalize certain acts or alleviate possible punishment, for example, by replacing the death sentence with life sentence retroactively. Such laws are also known by the Latin term in medias, right? So the law that came after the fact is everything that came after the agreement of the Continental Congress in a Iroquois Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Predates the entirety of all what we call North American law, modern day jurisprudence. The bar associations. The bar associations is barristers. They don't got nothing to do with us. They got titles of nobility from England. They was christened in under King George.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Right? So they the ones was chartered to do business and to hold us in psychological slavery and servitude. This is what the John D conquest was about. John D was the ones who told Elizabeth I to write the blood of one of the chiefs in the contract called the Constitution that they lured our so-called 5 civilized tribes in without them knowing. That's fraud.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Their whole shit is fraud. Go to the next one.
Somebody in the crowd in the chat say, "Rod, get these niggas, man. Get these niggas, man."
Okay, we can skip this one because that's dealing with what we just went over. But that's just another ex post facto description about making up a law after the fact. This is what happens when the ex post facto's law runs into a law that was there first. It's called a grandfather clause, right?
Yeah.
Scroll up a little bit, Elder, so you can see a grandfather clause, also called a legacy clause, is an exemption that allows persons or entities to continue with activities or operations that were approved before the implementation of new rules, regulations, or laws. Such allowance can be permanent, temporary, or instituted with limits. They always had a time limit to how long they could stay here. They've already acknowledged on the Senate floor and by presidential actions that they acknowledge the conclusions to the contracts. Their time is up. It's over with. Right? Let's go to the next slide. So by the grandfather clause, this is how you get, okay, we gotta go to the first one of them. That looks like that might be the last one.
Uh-huh. Yeah, right here.
Okay, non-treaty tribes. The relation between non-treaty Native Americans and the United States is complex and has been shaped by a number of Supreme Court rulings. So let me tell y'all where I got this from. I was having a conversation with AI, and I asked AI about the non-treaty tribes, and this is the answer that AI gave. In the early days of the Republic, the Supreme Court held that Native Americans were domestic dependent nations. That means a protectorate, for those who don't know. A domestic dependent mean that they got to take care of you like a parent take care of a child or like a farmer take care of his animals.
Yeah, pet.
That were subject to the ultimate authority of the United States government. How? How, Sway? They don't got nothing to do with us. This doctrine was used to justify the government expropriation of Native American land and resources. In the late 19th century, the Supreme Court began to recognize that Native Americans had certain inherent rights, such as the right to self-government. However, these rights were often limited by government powers to regulate Native American affairs. See, we ain't talking about allowing the enemy to tell us what to do. We know how to do it ourselves. We gotta go to the other page on that other page.
You see right here?
It was two sides. You only played the first side.
Yeah, that's the other side right here. Oh
Oh,
no, I
okay.
hit it. Okay, right here. Yeah, right here. Okay, here you go. Right here. Right here. All right. Damn. Hold. It won't let me. All right. There you go.
All right. The Supreme Court case, Worcester versus Georgia. So that's a legal case y'all can look up. 1832 is another important case in the history of non-treaty tribes. In this case, the court held that Native American tribes are domestic dependent nations that are subject to the ultimate authority of the United States government. However, the court also held that the tribes have certain inherent rights, such as the right to self-government, right? But every time we start self-governing, they murder us.
Go ahead,
In
Joe.
recent years, the rights of dying tribes have been strengthened. You see that word strengthened? You know what that
Yeah.
means? To make stronger?
Yeah.
For example, the Supreme Court case Carcieri versus Salazar, 2009, held that the federal government cannot take land from a non-treaty tribe without its consent. Right? Now we're getting up on the heels or closer to the time that they releasing these Indigenous Rights Act, which is the surrender of what's ours if we know how to use our oral tradition and the grandfather clause to seize it back. However, non-treaty tribes still face many challenges. They are often subject to discrimination and exploitation, and their rights are often not as well protected as those of treaty tribes. Here are some specific references to how non-treaty tribes were dealt with in early American law.
Okay, you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, go to the next one. Okay, these are the references. The Indian Removal Act of 1830. The act authorized the president to remove Native American tribes from their ancestral lands in the southeast and relocate them to Oklahoma. Stop. Before we go any further, why did they do that? Why did they start expatriating us from the southeast and relocating us to Oklahoma?
Shit, maybe
We
because
got
they
to
were stealing our
remember,
home or whatever. I don't know. Go ahead.
we was fighting the Gullah Wars.
Oh yeah. Okay, all right. Go ahead. I remember this.
Okay, so now they gotta get as many of us out of the war zone as possible. But while we fighting them, they got tribes making agreements with them.
Go ahead.
We ain't them. We not them tribes. That's why they call us gangs. Gangs is the legal jargon for tribes so that they can use their warrants called warrants to come in and seize anybody that they consider as a savage on the land.
Damn, bro. Go ahead. I like the way you put that. Warrants.
That's what it say.
Yeah, that's what
It's an
that's
ongoing
right.
declaration of war.
That's right. Go ahead.
Okay, then they came out in 1887 with the Dawes Act. This act broke up tribal land holdings and allotted individual plots of land to Native Americans. The goal was to assimilate Native Americans into American society. They did a piss poor job of that because we know who the fuck we is. The Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, this act reversed many of the provisions of the Dawes Act and restored some tribal self-government. The Indian Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act, this act gave Native American tribes more control over their own affairs. But look what it's called, Self-Determination and Education Assistance Act. So what this is doing, in part of self-determination, is to control your own educational output.
That's right.
right? So let's go to the next one. Okay, so it say the treatment of non-treaty tribes in early American law was often unjust and discriminatory. However, the rights of non-treaty tribes have been strengthened in recent years. The Supreme Court has issued a number of rulings that have protected the rights of non-treaty tribes, and Congress has passed laws that have restored some tribal self-government, right? So this is for the civilized tribes. To acknowledge that they're giving some acknowledgement to what we call non-treaty tribes, right? Now, this is Article 77 of the Iroquois Constitution, a grandfathered clause piece of law. We used to know this by memory, like those kids quote the Quran.
Yeah.
We used to know this by memory. We didn't have it wrote down. But we end up getting it written down prior to the arrival of the Constitution.
Okay.
The Constitution was extracted from these documents, the Iroquois Confederation Constitution. Article 77 say when the lords of the Confederacy decide to admit a foreign nation and adoption is made. Now, this is supposed to be from the 5 civilized tribes.
Okay.
But remember, you inherit the chief right of the chief land that you dwell on from historical record.
Okay.
I inherit the war chief status from Chief Pontiac by blood and by right. Right? I'm recognized in law as an outlaw tribe called a gang.
Right. Go ahead.
Right. Right. So now it said when the lords of the Confederacy decide to admit a foreign nation and adoption is made, the lords shall inform the adoption nation that its admission is only temporary. That means that you can't be here forever.
Go ahead.
You come try your little system out, but if it don't work, it's going to come a time when you're going to have to go. It's only temporary. Why? They shall also say to the nation that it must never try to control, to interfere with, or to injure the 5 nations, nor disregard the great peace of any of its rules or customs. This in no way should they cause disturbance or injury. God damn, they've been fucking us up. They sure didn't pay this no attention. Right. Scroll down some, man.
I got you.
It says, then should the adopted nation the adopted nation disregard these injunctions, their adoption shall be annulled and they shall be expelled. Right? Now, the next part is critical because this is how you go back to your oral tradition when we severing the contracts with the captors. The expulsion shall be in the following manner. The council shall appoint one of their war chiefs to convey the message on annulment, and he shall say, you, O United States of America corporate legal fiction, listen to me while I speak. I am here to inform you again of the will of the 5 Nations Council. It will clearly made known to you at a former time. Now the lords of the 5 nations have decided to expel you and cast you out. We disown you now and annul your adoption. Therefore, you must look for a path in which to go and lead away all your people. Scroll down some more.
I got you.
It was you, not we, who committed wrong and caused this sentence of annulment. So then go your way and depart from the territory of the 5 nations and from the Confederacy. Now, this was only for the 5 nations. But because it was written prior to, another war chief can use this and activate it by just reading it in the public domain, time-stamped and dated for the public to see. Because this right here. To win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the supreme of excellence. To subdue the enemy without fighting is the supreme of excellence. I don't have to lift a finger. That's why Larry said we brain banging, not gang banging, or I would have had the streets riled up by now, riding down on the government with AKs ablazing. This is not how this is supposed to go.
Go ahead,
It's a
Rod.
thinking man's game, and I'm walking y'all through the thought pattern.
Go ahead. You saying a lot, Rod.
Let me breathe for a minute. Play Big Mama. Let Big Mama tell him something.
Yeah, you talking a lot, Rod. You making it clear. You making it clear. That's for sure.
She gonna tell you the same thing I said about we was at war. Watch. That's what made me send it to you, Elder.
This what the video of that old lady talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Should be it right here.
Somebody got to know how to end the war. Somebody know how to call the troops up to the forefront.
A little bit of lie, like I said, I'm dropping breadcrumbs, and it's up for you to go on out there and find the truth for yourself. Yeah, I said we was all under this spell, all religion, the legion of lies that has been on you, time and time again.
All right, here you go.
Honestly, I'm just trying to give y'all a little bit of truth and a little bit of lie. Like I said, I'm dropping breadcrumbs, and it's up for you to go on out there and find the truth for yourself, you know. Yeah, I said we was all under this spell, all religion, the legion of lies that has been casted upon you, time and time again, to keep you enslaved spiritually under a system that feeds off you like a bunch of vampires. That's why in your church, when you're taking them communion and they saying, drink my blood and eat my flesh. Now, what God you really know do that? They really got y'all all manipulated, thinking that this God you worshiping is something that's here to save your soul. One baby say, well, Mama, then who should we pray to? You know, I say this, we under the spell because the English language is the most craziest language in the world. You can say one word and it mean 4, 5 different things. So,
that's right.
Like the word pray, you say pray and you think you're praying, but something is actually praying on you. And then they say, well, Mama, if Jesus up there hanging on the cross, who was he praying to? Well, don't y'all say that Jesus is God manifested in the flesh? So if God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit is all the same thing, you tell me, who was he praying to? And after a while, he got a little upset because why have thou forsaken me? So somebody talked him into being up there. First of all, I want to know, why does God always sacrificing children? Sacrificing his only begotten son. Baby, would you sacrifice your child for somebody else, talking about forgiveness of your sins? You're responsible for your own sins. These babies born into this world, only thing they did was just come out your ass, and the first thing they telling you is your baby born into sin. Then you rush the child on up to the church so that pastor could perform a ritual over your baby. They always after the babies. All of them. Look at that Roman Catholic Church now. All them pedophiles up in there doing that things to them altar boys. All this years, all this time they've been doing the wicked things, and your mama and them, you know about it. You ain't do nothing about it though, because in your eyes, that man represents God. That man don't represent no God. All this shit is a lie. Legion of lies they call religion, and it's a spell. Using through languages and rituals done to you over and over. Now you participate in the damn thing over and over and wonder why your life don't get better. As soon as you wake up, first thing you say is good morning. Baby, what's good about morning? You waking up moaning. Oh, it ain't that morning. Well, which morning it is? The bright in the morning star that they call Jesus. And then another chapter over there in Isaiah, they call you Lucifer. Oh, you the son of the morning. Spelt the same way. Last time I checked, the sun up in the sky don't mourn. It rises. But y'all just don't get it. Y'all just don't get it. Even everything is in your face right now. The West is falling, baby. The West is falling because your boys had your time to rule and you did a bunch of wicked things. Came over here talking about freedom and liberation and made your holidays on Independence Day while you had slaves in the back. Talk about thou shalt not commit adultery, but half of your slaves was going into the slave quarters in the middle of the night, raping them young black girls. Imagine the psychology that white women had to look at this man rape these women and then have babies by these women, all these mulatto children running around here knowing goddamn well they all came from her husband. So she took her anger out on the black woman. See, that wedge was driven between us a long time ago because he don't respect your ass either. Used to call you a witch up there in Boston, was burning your asses at the stake. Calling you things that you were just practicing nature. And you got all that knowledge from the black woman that showed you some things. See, now y'all feeling the pain and the wrath because your government done turned on you too. A few years back, y'all was talking about make America great again. Y'all was watching them police brutalize them boys time and time again. All you did was turn a blind eye because you knew you conditioned us to turn the other cheek. There's a reckoning coming to this country because you spilt a lot of blood of my people on this soil. Now the rocks is crying out. Y'all know what I'm talking about is true. Look what happened down there the other day in Montgomery, Alabama. All through the South, our blood is saturating this earth. Saturating the soil so deep. You bury some of our towns and make your man-made lakes, and you kill so many people. The souls are still there crying out, calling for justice. And it's coming. So you think we all gonna raise up and do a race war? No, nature is doing quite a good job at it herself. There's tornadoes is 5-10 miles wide, leveling your whole town. Hurricanes coming. Y'all forgot last year the whole country was under 0 degrees during your winter holiday called Christmas. I told you all these holidays align up, certain alignments in the stars like the solstices. But you holding on to all this shit so tight because of fear. They instilled all of this shit in you. They raped it into you. They molested it into you. And you just don't know how to let it go because they told you to fear God. That same God in that Bible, in the first your commandments tell you thou shalt not kill. And then a few chapters down the road, he don't tell David to go in there and kill his whole village and take the women and children. What? Make that make sense. That's a hypocrite if you ask me. And you say, oh my God, that's blasphemy. Let me tell you something. The same people who oppressed my people and wrote in your book of laws that we ain't no more than 3/5 of human being, ain't no way in hell in your soul you could teach me about God. You don't even know what the true and living God is. Now I'm going to tell you, I ain't no race, and this ain't all about black and white. This is about wrong and right. Y'all turned a blind eye for too long. Now the walls of Jericho is coming on down. Because it's time. I told you we at the end of this age and the beginning of a new one. So y'all can hold on to this shit all you want. Hell, they already told you that the spell is over when Lizzie over there died and they snapped the wand and put it right on her casket for the whole world to see. Most of y'all missed that one right over your head. Now what queen you know? All the queens I know carry scepters or staffs. This one had a wand. Only people I know that carry wands was witches and warlocks. See, they putting everything right in front of your face because it's revelation. You thinking it's a great war of Armageddon, but it means to reveal, to awaken. Your pulse shifts is that spinal cord that go up, have all the nerves connected to that go up to your brain that's sparking a whole new form of consciousness in you. That's your great awakening. And the carbon footprint they talking about is you. Melanated people, you the carbon. Y'all need to wake on up now, because it's time. There's a reckoning coming. And some of it is coming from people that just look like me too. And some people who won't be the one to help you may not look like you. See, y'all all thinking it's about bloodlines, 12 tribes. But now, sometimes it could be about them blood types. They got you focusing on the wrong thing. I dropped a lot of breadcrumbs in this video, baby. Y'all sit back and y'all ponder on all the things I'm talking about. Cause time's just about up. Show is. Why you think they disclosing all this information about UFOs and things like that? What you think is up in them skies, baby? You think you the only life forms in this whole galaxy and universe? That's like the rock telling the pebble we the only ones on the beach. Y'all need to think about some of the things I'm saying and ponder on it. Let it
Man,
be
this lady
food
right
for
here
thought
crack
for you.
heads and
Cause
twist
it's time to stop
caps.
messing around, get your lives together, and get your house in order. All right now, Mama T, y'all be good. Bye.
Oh yeah, that lady advanced. She advanced. Like she is.
You see, she told you about the spell, about the
The crack the
conclusion to
one
this.
and put it on the casket part was the good part.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you break that down a little bit? Crack. She said she cracked. She broke her wand, and they because it let you know the conjure was over.
So go to
That's
Google
deep.
and type in, go to Google and pull up John D. This is who told them about the blood conjure to keep us subdued. He the one was the advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. So he the ones sent them over here with the conjure, with the voodoo, to write the Constitution in the blood of
Rockefeller.
Crispus
Rock,
Attucks.
Rockefeller.
No, just John D. D-E-E.
Oh, John D. Okay, yeah. Can
He
you see
was
my
a
screen?
he was a wizard. He was a warlock, a wizard.
All right, hell, I got you. Come on, baby. Why is it taking so long?
See him? Now that picture is whitewashed, just so you know.
Yeah, he was a black dude.
John
He looked like
D. Go to that part right there where it's talking about him, so we can read it to the people.
it says John D was an English mathematic astronomer, astrologer, teacher, occultist, and alchemist. He was the court astronomer for and advisor to Elizabeth I, and spent much of his time on alchemy. You know what I'm saying? Magic. You know, the divination, the Hermes philosophy.
Medics. Yeah.
Yeah, and anti Quarian. He had one of the largest libraries in England at the time. Born July 13, 1527, London, United Kingdom. Died December 68. I mean 1608. John D.
So the wine that they broke was the one he gave Elizabeth I that they passed down. The only way they can break it is to admit that the blood contract over here been broke,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? That's why they'll be showing you all this stuff in the open, but this the symbolism of the secret societies that we don't know what they doing. So while they showing it to us in our face, we don't know what it means, right? I'm just telling everybody what it means and showing them where to find key information. They got whole volumes of books on this dude.
Well, well. What time is it? Yeah, we still good. We only about an hour in. Now, hold up.
So that was another elder telling y'all the same thing I've been saying. That lady don't know me from a rock in Iraq,
Go ahead.
but she
Go
know the
ahead.
same thing from reading the culture that I know. This shit is over, and it's right now. We just trying to get the information to get to critical mass awareness of the change in the system to go on and push it on over the edge. But we got to get all of the ones with contracts the opportunity to abandon the contract with the corporation so that they not held as accomplices to the fraud.
Uh-huh.
We
Uh-huh.
don't want our own people. We don't want our own people to get caught up in the cleanup and get caught in the blind. They don't know. So trying to do business with the corporation, the worst thing you can be doing right now, because the only thing left is the deep state actors.
Oh yeah, this is what I was
And
gonna
they,
ask you, bro. Because
mm-hmm,
this right here might tie into what you're talking about. Uh Now the government they in this big ass debt, trillions of dollars, right? But why how are they offering why are they trying to offer us money? $6,000, $600. Where they getting this money from? Why are they trying to offer us money to sign a deal with the government? Why I want to sign a deal with the government? You know what I'm saying?
because
Is
they
that
need
part of
those
the game that
contracts.
ties back into the system? Is that part of the game to
Yeah,
get
that's what it's for. That's what it's for. Once it collapses, that's when we get the blackout. The blackout is the signal that the old system is finally dead.
okay, okay,
That means all the deep state players then been snatched up by their neck.
okay,
All
okay.
those little private militaries that's around the country scattered out in the woods and been burnt out.
So hey, you don't know
The
how long they got. Like based on me playing it out, I think they got less than this shit could play out another couple years. Like before they just completely be removed. Like it could play out a couple more years, but I believe once they get removed,
look,
we gonna have that little
it
period.
has to happen soon, Elder. It has
Yeah.
to happen soon in order for them to start building infrastructure for the national party,
Okay.
for Mardi Gras coast to coast.
Okay.
The infrastructure has to be put in place for that, and we got to put a lot of people in the workforce to get it done. The BRICS is just blocked the American dollar,
Okay.
right? So when they finally ban it, that is the collapse of the dollar. That's the financial aspect finally coming to its knees. The central banking systems cartels.
That's right. That's what Elijah Muhammad
It
said. That was
was
gonna
it,
happen first.
yeah. It was so many bankers that needed to get.
Damn. They just
They had assassin agents in the field. They had to be identified, located, and secured. That's what that movie uh Economic Hitman about. How the CIA, how the bankers send you the central banks, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, that we've been seized that,
yeah, yeah. I was hearing something about that. Man, nah, hey,
right?
yeah, bro. I heard you say something about the gold and what so tying in what you just saying now. I saw them the military standing over that gold that you said they got brought from Vatican because I was wondering why they got all that gold sitting out there. I didn't even know what it was for, but
600,
go ahead, go ahead.
650 airplanes. This gold was tagged that it came from here. It was clearly identified as our shit. It wasn't no mistake that it belonged to us.
Damn. I seen it, but I didn't know what the hell that was. I seen them out there camp like boxing that shit up in black boxes.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it
So
was.
it took 650 cargo planes to get all of the gold back.
Dang, bro. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of damn gold. Is it the gold from Fort Knox
Watching
they say?
what's going on the land.
Yeah, I seen that though.
All we gotta do,
I seen that, bro.
yeah,
Man, I seen them out there stacking the gold and putting it in the crates. And I said, "Damn, I wonder where that gold come going, or where that gold coming from." But I didn't look into it. I just thought it was another country or something. I didn't even look into it. I just said it's a lot of gold that they stacking up right there. You know, where they getting that gold from?
yeah.
Coming
So
from?
the certificate of ownership for the gold was in the Philippines. Trump, when he got that, like 2017, 2018,
Yeah.
he went and got the seal, the certification of ownership, and that's how the military was able to seize it back. The
Mm.
Pope been gone.
Yeah.
The guy they got for the Pope right now, look, they take him apart and put him in a box and slide him under the
That's
bed at
fact.
night.
That's fact. I got the receipt on that. I wish I would have had that in the dang in our file. I got the receipt on it. They take him out the box
Yeah,
and put him together like a dog, man. The Pope.
yeah. Then they got documented proof that they was using holograms at the Vatican.
Dang, this shit is getting crazy.
See, so people was wondering about the power behind the Vatican. That was the archons. The archon was beheaded 3 years ago. I posted it when it happened,
Go ahead.
right? So the reign of terror on earth is over. All of the tribes is in on it. All of the what we call outlaw clans met at the Bang Dong conference. Pull that up one more time for the people.
Yeah, the bang dong.
BANDONNG or BO.
Bang dong.
conference. That was in the 50s when all of the clans around the planet went to go to the Philippines with Sukarno to counter the governmental structures that was being imposed on indigenous people around the world. We had to come together. I just got to show you where all this stuff at, so you will know what I'm talking about. This is a global takeover by all of the collective tribes all over the world. I
And Malcolm X was in on this. That's why they got him up out of here.
don't know if Malcolm went to this,
Now I'm talking about he was in on the
but it was
same movement trying to liberate all the same. We was said we had all had the same problem around the world. America's doing this to everybody. You know.
yeah. That's when he had the conversation with DePinto.
Yeah,
Remember,
the
did
pinto.
Gregory say that Malcolm got killed because of DePinto?
Yeah, nigga that he was meeting up with to get him to go to the UN and try to
But
bring
he didn't get
right.
killed. Look, get killed because of the Pinto. But him and the Pinto was targeted both by the CIA at the same time.
That's right. That's right.
They died within days of each other,
That's right.
right? So um, coming together has been the taboo. I got the knock from Grenada to tell them about Maurice Bishop because America ran up in there and assassinated Maurice Bishop, and because they was mad he was reclaiming the island back for the people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then I got the chief from Cuba came. He wanted me to tell the people, remember Camilo. We know about Castro, we know about Che Guevara, but Camilo Cienfuego, the CIA shot his airplane down, or had the Navy shoot his airplane down over the Atlantic Ocean.
Damn, this shit is just it's layers and layers and layers and layers. That's why they made
Yeah,
that room
they
so big
telling
down
us
there. Yeah, go ahead.
They telling us the cradle of civilization is in the Middle East, with the Sumerians roughly about 50,000 years ago. but we got civilization records over here going back over 100,000 years ago. So where is the cradle of civilization?
Go ahead.
This is the land of Tahuti.
Go ahead. Yeah, I know that.
We know who we are. We outlaw tribes,
Man, bro.
nine contracted tribe. We don't have agreements with this corporate fiction. And the reason I'm on the internet once again is because I'm getting hazed. Because I hate this shit with a passion.
Go
But my
ahead.
people got to get information, and I need a way of communicating in the open that can be time stamped and dated to show you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we already put it out.
That's why I'm like a cash treasure, keep spitting out receipts. Cause I got all the change. You did?
Yeah.
You wanna take some questions from the crowd
Yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah. We'll take about 15 minutes to 20 minutes worth of questions, then we can get up out of here, man. This right here was short and powerful. This right here is, hey, y'all got any questions for the Chief Rod? Drop them in the chat, man. I see a couple of y'all had some questions. Somebody had a question about the Queen. Drop that question again, man, so we can see it. It was way back. Uh, it says, yeah, everybody loving it, man. We got 1,000 people on this joint. Everybody hit that like button, man. Like you say, my Chief Poniac, he don't do it for the money, man. But we got 1,000 people on here. Everybody send him $1, man. It ain't gonna be nothing but $1 for you, but you'll put them in the game, help them out, man. We just showing some love, man. Just showing some love. Hey, drop them questions in the chat, man. I know y'all got some questions. It says download customer turn. All right, hold on. Let me see. Can I get this one right here? Oh no. It says download consumer law terms and definitions. Contract law terms and definition. What is debit?
Debt.
Oh, debt. That's what it say, right? What is debt? It will tell you. What? So what? Hey, debt. What is debt? Shit, they.
Slavery.
Yeah, pretty much to sum it up. Yeah, you old a
Look,
nigga and you never.
I'm familiar with I'm familiar with all of the um, dancing back and forth, debtor, creditor, secured party, unsecured party.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm familiar with how it works. That's the UCC codification of how to do business, and it interrupts the natives, the tribes people, from being entrepreneurial in their community by providing services they community need by forcing them into factory labor. It ain't nothing wrong with factory labor. I worked in GM for 10 years. But when I realized what was going on, I had to walk away from the job and sever the contract. I didn't collect unemployment when I left. I just left. It's a wrap. Walking away from the contract because I discovered the fraud. Once
Right.
I discovered the fraud, as one of the chiefs on the land, I'm obligated to continuously raise hell about this shit until the people can see where the fraud was at, so they can know how that I've already issued the tribal instructions according to the oral tradition that gets us from under the contract.
Right.
By blood and by right, as pretender to the crown.
Right.
Crown prince of heaven and earth. Right? So
Right.
we about to find out. We didn't fucked around long enough. Now we about to find out.
Right.
Right? And that's why I don't mean no, I don't come at them aggressive and ride the madman. I'm coming ride Dr. Rod to Walker University, same way I came in.
That's right.
On my first interview with LaMel, one of the Malachi boys on the Blue House. Because I had to tell him back then that Hiram was raised and then tell him why. Because that's how you have to get in the game. You got to know the language. You got to know all of the cultures on the land. At least enough of them where you can deduce to other cultures by cross-referencing them with the other cultures in other areas. This I traveled the land. I would rather be on the farm right now shoveling horse shit than sitting on the internet
Right,
talking,
right.
right? I'd rather
Cornball.
be feeding the chickens in the morning and running across the field at night with the dogs than be on this motherfucking internet. But my instructions in this brain banging game was to play this chess game in the open where everybody can see these motherfucking Mississippi clay dirt organic walking motherfuckers in human form.
Right. That's right.
Teach
Right.
y'all how Big Mama said leave no stone unturned. I got the call from three high chiefs on the night journey to see three sky chiefs, just telling me that I can't take this journey with my mama because this is a man's job.
It says Tennessee start using
If
silver and
you
gold legal tendency now.
several states have already passed legislation at the state level in order to legally use gold and silver as legal tender again. Also, um, the local governments where we supposed to start at. Just because we don't remember how our culture run, don't mean all of us don't remember. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
This is us reclaiming what's rightfully ours. We ain't asking the motherfucker for shit. We just asking for our shit.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Cause when we get our shit back, they ain't gonna have shit.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's why the reparations is deployed. Get you to fight for reparations. For what? Give me my shit.
Yeah,
And I won't
man.
need reparations.
Yeah.
That's reparations for your ass. But they not gonna give you nothing. You gotta know how to use they science, they games, they fifth dimensional galactic chessboard in order to go in there and pound my chest like King motherfucking Kong and tell them they didn't let the GDs in the door. Fuck what
Right.
they talk about. Fuck what they know. They didn't let the fucking GDs in the door, and they can't do nothing about it.
Somebody asked
Can't
about
do
some
nothing
type of
about it.
rainbow currency.
Yeah, that's when they go over to gold and they were starting to print the new dollar in a rainbow of the color of the metals. But I don't know if that's gonna be feasible because we probably gonna want somebody else on the dollar. We probably ain't gonna want no people. We probably gonna want to use totem animals or something. I'm on the
That's
$50 bill.
that's
King
gonna be
motherfucker Kong, Gorilla Gride, GD Ride
yeah,
up this motherfucker.
yeah. This is
Big
gonna be
50 in the house.
this is X Rod his thoughts in Alabama Riverfront Raw. I think you talking about that when they fighting on that boat. I think that's what he talking about. That boat
That's
fight.
exactly what they talking about. You know, Treaty of the Hat. He threw his
What's
hat
that?
in the air,
Yeah.
right? It's the Treaty of the Hat. It's the war call.
Yeah, why would they? Yeah, I wonder why they promoted that shit like it was just some kind of
So you would go
ritual-like
Google.
event.
So you would go to Google and type in Treaty of the Hat.
All right, all right,
You got to remember, they broke every treaty. They never honored one because they didn't think that we was gonna ever figure out who he is and hold them to the reality that they fraudulently created contracts under false pretenses. Half of the treaties were signed with $5 Indians that ain't from here.
right. That's
They
right.
brought them with them and dressed them up like us with feathers and shit, our ceremonial garb that we wear for Mardi Gras. They put that on them motherfuckers like we wear that shit everywhere we go.
That's right.
We dress up for Mardi Gras all
That's
over the
true.
country.
That's true. That's true.
All of a sudden we forget that we dress up for Mardi Gras. We finna celebrate this shit. This is hostile takeover. This is the getting rid of the corporate fiction from off the land. The war already been being fought. While y'all was sitting here watching this Biden fiasco and the Ukraine fairy tale story, the war already been being fought, guerrilla style and guerrilla warfare all over the world.
Right.
All you got to do is look up the forest fires. Why in the fuck is it that many goddamn forest fires?
Right.
Because those people who was making all that money, they was hiring and training private military. They was buying boys from China and Korea and as little boys and raising them up to know nothing but war. Right? So they had to be annihilated. If you wasn't one of them, you was the automatic enemy. When they send you up, when they send them out, they come out and tear shit up. Them they sleeper agents. They was getting the other kids in other parts of the world doing this Jason Bourne shit on them.
Right. So the white people, like somebody say, like it's gonna be a war, but like a civil war or a racist war between whites and blacks. See, that's the game that they playing. The white and black
That was
game.
part of the look. That was part of the divide and conquer strategy.
Right.
Because if you know American history for real, you would know that before there was one slave over here, it was pale faces walking around on the land with us.
Right. Right.
Right? That,
Right.
how do you think Maman Brigitte got into the pantheon of the Orisha? She a red-haired white girl.
Go ahead.
Right? How did she get there? Because we already had people of high mystic value coming from all over the world to learn here.
Right.
This is the great metropolis of learning. Whatever you do over here, if you don't do nothing else, learn something.
That's right.
Right? So now at the end of these conclusions, what have we learned? The local government is the most important government to reclaim because that's how the people in the community take back their community. And if enough of us take back our community, we can meet the needs of the community better because it's in the hands of the people who live there. A lot of these communities was redlined and X'd out because we had nobody from the community who understood what was going on in the community and said, oh, they don't need nothing, they ain't asking for nothing. Squeaky wheel gets the oil. So by taking back the local government, by organizing a new city council, overthrowing the old one, the legal fiction, they'll let you go, they'll get out your way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We did several videos on that. Because local government is the only control you truly have. That federal shit, that shit made up. That's a circus.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dog and pony show to keep you deluded as to what's going on in your face. What purpose do politicians serve? They don't write no motherfucking law. They get the law that was written from a motherfucking group of lawyers in a room somewhere.
It's just about money to me.
That's all it is.
What is money gonna get advocated to? That's all they do.
Right. So they come in and they criminalize what's natural to the people to make the people a natural criminal.
Wow.
Pay attention. The things that you do naturally, smoke marijuana, smoke cigarettes, right? They put restrictions and bans on it. So that's gonna make you be they automatically belligerent to you.
Yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. Make your natural culture illegal, and then you know what I'm saying. So you got to do what you naturally do. They can now bastardize you and criminalize you for doing
Yep.
what you naturally did on your land. Like with Bob
Mm.
Marley. Bob Marley, he's a Rastafarian, so in his religion he can smoke, right? So I think he had came over to America with a certain amount of marijuana a couple pounds, I think, and they arrested him, but they had to let him go eventually because they said that it was part of his religion. He had like 5 pounds or something. It was crazy, right? At the airport and shit. Yeah, so like, but it is protection for indigenous people, in the Indigenous Rights Act against
Right.
that, right?
So the Indigenous Rights Act is not a law, and they're not law.
Okay.
What they is a descriptive analysis of at what part of them resisting our culture are we at.
Uh,
So they telling us in the Indigenous Rights Acts, if we follow our own culture, oral traditions, be self-determining, and prove it, right?
yeah.
Then they gonna get out our way.
So that's all we gotta
That's
do.
all it means.
We gotta
Gonna get up.
self determine, be self determined, man.
Yeah. So that's what's the problem with Baba. The problem with Baba is he was setting up the structure back up. He was reforming the community and buying up land,
Go ahead.
right? That became belligerent to the system because he would start automatically going back to our tribal culture,
Right.
right? So they take him out to bust the tribe up, right? So now that get him a little bit longer to play their game.
Yeah, because it was almost over with for him, man. Right then.
Yeah, Baba had him in the headlock. The entire record of the United Nubian Nations and more gonna be a bad mofo when he put it out.
Oh yeah.
Cause remember, Let's Set the Record Straight was just the excerpt from it.
Yeah. 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 See, look, it's some stuff that Bible didn't get a chance to. Yeah, but see, we working on some of it right now, man. We just ain't talking about it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Bottom line, Chief, what needs
I
to
see.
happen?
I was reading the
Okay.
question.
Okay. Hey, keep on
Um,
going. Look real quick.
it's really literally about how aware are we of our culture. And some people over here did ancestry do trace back to Africa, but the tribes that was already here is the ones we focused on, and we don't have no problem with nobody as long as they don't try to interfere with us restoring the matriarchy and rebuilding um, the clans' tribal rights, restoring the tribal rights back to the clans, right? We can clean the streets up in a week. We can stop the violence in a day. But you can't do none of that when your enemy is ruling over you, causing these things to transpire on purpose. And we not doing nothing to stop them. The internet is just a tool, people. It's like a wrench in a toolbox. And I don't be on here all day, every day, contrary to popular opinion. But I do know what I'm talking about. And I do know that the entirety of this shit show is about to come to a grand finale real soon.
Right. That's right. Says what about an article? That's interesting. That's my first time hearing that.
Look, America never honored the treaty, nowhere. All of their position of treaty power was predicated on a constructed fraud. All of the treaties for the corporation known as America is canceled. It's just bankrupt and defunct, no longer operational. We need to start looking at what is it going to be like when we get back into the position to reap the benefit of the resources that we produce from our labor and from our land,
Right.
right? So whether you think I'm a chief on the internet or not, It don't matter to me. Only thing matter to me is I put it in the public domain, right? That what takes place is according to procedure.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm doing is showing y'all the receipts for what I'm talking about, so y'all can have a clear understanding of what I'm saying. Because sometimes I sound neurotic, but I know exactly what I be saying. But it be so far fetched to a person that's conditioned to doing something one way that it sounds like it's wrong or that it's crazy. But that's only because you fighting your conditioning, not what I'm showing you, because I'm showing the receipts.
Right. Right. Shit, who is they? Who has understood? Oh yeah, she was saying, Ben. She must just count on, Rod. They look like us, but they ain't us. The law is the law.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I was telling them earlier, we already seized 650 airplanes full of gold from the Vatican. We seized the World Bank and International Monetary Fund for fraud in taxing the American people, right? Under international law, we had a right to seize the corporation because they was committing, by the number of people and the amount of money, it was a gross felony in a high degree. It was like the same as trying to overthrow somebody's foreign government. But the banks was using the inflation fractional reserve banking process in order to steal the wealth of the people, and the people steady reaping less and less benefit for their labor and for the fruits of the land. They was sending the money to other people. We had to go seize all that back.
Mm. Mm.
He told you who he was. If he wasn't who he said he was, they'd have shut him up by now.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't who he said he was, them motherfuckers with them black suits would have been over there shutting him up. So I gotta believe that he exactly who he say he is, cause I ain't seen no motherfuckers in no black suits run up on him. They came to see me at work, try to find out what I want. I'm not negotiating with you motherfuckers. I want my people to be made whole. I want you to stop pushing this homosexual agenda. I want you to stop pushing this rape campaign and misogyny and disrespect of the women and the men. You disrespect the women so bad it make the men disrespect themselves. That's some sour shit. You disrespect the women so bad you make the men disrespect themselves. They have to little themselves down in order to be at the level of respect that they can get for their woman. Then she lash out and we don't know how to fix it. Then we not military savvy. But the man said who he is. They ain't popped up on him and told him, hey, you mislead people, because they ain't fact checked him. So he must be on to something.
So hey, that tribe is a mix. That tribe is actually a mixed tribe.
What tribe?
The Lakota people, they actually mix with Hoshin, the Armaks, and I think the Hindus. The
Look,
Hindus.
did you hear what that lady said? You what Big Mama said on that last video
What you said?
about the master kids and the white woman knew?
Nah.
Them little mulatto kids running around blowing her husband.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
Where
heard
them
that.
goddamn kids go?
That's how you
Where
know.
all them kids go?
That's a good question.
Most of them moved to the north and was passing. Who they marry? They passing. Where they live at while they passing? Who blood still in their veins while they passing, Elder?
Go ahead.
Right? They don't even know that the eugenics program by Margaret Sanger was singing about was written by Inky.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that because while he's using polarization of opposites to draw them together, where Inky want to draw them together using the separation by definition based on complexion. They're
Mm-hmm.
using two different things to use to get us together. So where did all of them motherfucking curly haired babies go off the plantation?
Right.
And them straight haired babies off the plantation? Where they go?
Right.
Where they at? So white girls just that just randomly happen. Ain't no drop of blood over there. Rhythm,
Right. Right.
right? Where did they
Right.
get it from? Where they got that blood?
Right.
Hillbillies singing that
Right.
bluegrass. That's that country boy music.
Right.
Yeah. They talk about try
Blues
this in a
all
small town.
night.
You goddamn right. Try it in a small town if you want to. That's what you call a tight knit community.
Yeah.
We didn't fell apart. Sew this motherfucker back up,
Let's go.
right? So
Yeah, I think what he's trying to say about the AG. I don't know what Minister
listen,
Farrakhan
listen,
talking
listen,
about.
listen, listen, listen. When we talk about doctrines, these doctrines like the Nation of Islam, the Nuwabian Nation, the 5% Nation, um, these doctrines, these religious doctrines is there in order to try to make us remember some portions of one of our past lives. If
Mm-hmm.
you can remember a little sliver of it during the amnesia, you'll start your awakening process.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these terms to us before 1492, but because of the experience, a wise man will talk to the experience and they will use terms that changes the psychological dynamic that's imposed on you by an oppressor.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get caught up and think that when Malachi speak about Nubians and Sabians, that he's excluding Hamites and Hittites.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what he's doing. He's going inside of the psyche, pulling the information out so you can use it as a perspective of view to see what you face with.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these terms, Asiatic, those terms mean something to specific people
Mm-hmm.
from specific bloodlines more than they do to the collective. It's called light code language. It's written like that for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to know what the Honorable Minister Farrakhan mean when he says Asiatic black man, read the literature. They tell you what they mean. But it's not
That's
gonna mean the same thing for me.
no, yeah, that's what I say. That's what I say too. Hey, Roy, I like how you put that, Roy. I like how you answer that question. Cause like I say, Bible taught that the Asiatic black man is the Hindus, the blacks, dark skinned Hindus. That's what Bible taught us. So and it's not us. We're not Asiatic black man. Now we do some of us do got Asiatic black man in us because these dark skinned Moors or Asiatic black man came over here and mixed in with some of us. That's why all of us don't got this real
You
nappy hair.
remember, Elder?
Mm-hmm.
You remember when I said go back and look at the wars that Rome fought so you will know who they was taking as captives.
That's right.
You can, it's a steady flow of information of who they was fighting the whole time while they was getting ready to come over here.
That's
They
right.
were fighting the Mongols, they were fighting the Huns, and they were fighting the Vedics, what the Nuwabians call Asiatic black man, the Hindu. Those are your Aryan race, those Enlil kids, but
Go
from
ahead.
a different wife than his wicked wife,
Go ahead.
right? So they was blessed with certain features in the face, but Enlil put his kids over Inky kids who's known in India as Dravidians, untouchable. They got afros, look like the Jacksons in the 70s,
That's right.
right? So those were Inky kids, right? And that was called Eastern Ethiopia. Now this is where we start going into the difference Asiatic black man.
Okay.
Because the Dravidian was there before it was Asia.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And so before it was Asia, you had big nose, big lip, Afro wearing people over there. They still there.
Yeah,
You can
and those
still look
people.
them up on.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you can still look them up on the internet. They're not hard to find.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then the people who was given the title Aryan noble, they was placed in the palaces as the rulers. And
Igor.
because of the worship gene, they all stay in a place. That's an Anunnaki trait. If you ascribe a family function, it'll do that family function in the family for life, even if it's rat catchers.
Right. Go ahead. Neutral rat.
Right? Yeah. But whatever it is, the family gonna always that's what their caste system is predicated upon that idea. They changed it when they brought it to America. The caste system was predicated upon the brown paper bag test that kept us out of the institutions where they was exchanging all of this information that we now putting out in the public domain. They didn't just find this stuff out yesterday. They been knew this stuff. They knew they was gonna do it before they done it because they wrote that they was gonna do it before they done it, and then they said, "Don't believe it." They followed step by step exactly how they wrote it to get it done, but they tell us, "Don't believe it. It's a conspiracy theory."
Right.
Linus Den, that's my girl. She putting all my stuff up.
Oh yeah, shout out Linus. Oh yeah, shout out Linus Den. Go subscribe to her new page. They erased her old page, y'all. Go subscribe to Linus Den new page. Click on her icon and subscribe. Get her back up like she was, man. She had to start from scratch.
Yeah, don't forget out that we gotta post a $1 trillion
oh yeah, send me
buyback
that
on
link.
there.
Send me that link. I have it up tomorrow. I have it up tomorrow. Send me that link.
Yeah, we starting to run over time now. We about to wrap it up.
I wanted to have it an hour 30, so we want this to be short and snappy. So this is what we're gonna do, man. We're gonna get out here. We're gonna set up a nothing though. This was good, man. Y'all need to share it, like it. You know what I'm saying? Send it out to everybody, man. Shout out, hey, if you want to get in contact with Rod, you got to follow him on Instagram at the Skype 8. We got it in the descriptions already. His Instagram and Facebook links. So if you want to contact him, DM on Instagram or Facebook, man. He don't really give out his number like that, you know. So you got to get in touch with him, and then if the
Yeah,
spirit,
I'm easy to get on Facebook Messenger and Instagram Messenger. I'm not hard to get. I try to answer all my messages. Sometimes it take me a day or two to get through them, but hey, I'm here to support my people. I'm here to contribute to the cause of the redemption. This is the redemption program. This is the recovery of the outlaw tribes and the civilized tribes. This is the opportunity for us to really realize what's going on. We got numbers. I got that 35% apathetic vote.
That's
We
right.
call thug niggas, outlaws, insanes,
That's right.
vice lords, gangster disciples, L. Rookins, P-Stones,
That's right.
motherfucking Crips, Bloods,
That's right.
Pyrus, Grape
Well
Streets.
said.
I got them motherfuckers, if you want to know where my tribe at. Them the motherfuckers that's out there organize the YGs so the
Hey, Eric,
OGs can tell them we about to get our shit and we about to make these motherfuckers bow down. That's where my tribe at. We
yeah,
concrete motherfucking gorillas pounding our motherfucking chest, beating this concrete, rocking up and down the street till we shake these motherfuckers' cage with a platinum back rage to make these motherfuckers go insane. We done with the bullshit. We back for everything they owe. All these outlaws on board.
that's right.
Everybody got a place at the table for us. But when was trying to get a place at the table, we wasn't allowed. So we made our own table. You
Hey,
ain't got to kiss nobody ass, right? That ain't nowhere in my book of life say I got to kiss nobody's ass. I
right.
couldn't find it. I read the whole thing. Then I read the general book of life, where it just talk about life in general, and it wasn't even in there. So don't nobody have to be as obligated to be an ass kisser. You have to do that shit because you want to be.
Go ahead.
But you don't have to be an abuser either. Just because you
Go ahead.
don't kiss ass don't make you an abuser.
That's right. That's right.
See, you got to know you got the power to destroy, use it to protect,
That's right.
right? I got the ability to teach, but I ain't finna sit in a classroom.
That's right.
So I come in, drop a little something on social media, educate a couple of mans, wake a couple people up from the slumber, and keep this shit motherfucking moving.
That's right. That's right. So, with that being said, say less. Hey, we can drop the mic on that one. Hey, look here, man. We about to get up out of here, y'all. We want to thank y'all for tuning in. Like I say, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. If you're new to the channel, hit that bell. Me and Rob for to crank this back up, man. Like I say, I got like 70 tapes right now. Like I think starting tomorrow, I'm gonna start hitting y'all every day with a tape, man. So I ain't gonna tell y'all which one I'm gonna do tomorrow, but it's gonna be lit. Just know that. So and I got all the Malachi tapes coming out. Like we just load them up every day. We're gonna have one coming out every day. So for y'all students that want to go check that out, we're gonna have some of the other brothers. And like I say, me and Rod got over 90 tapes out. But at least we got over 200 hour worth of tapes. So if you want to watch them tapes, go to the playlist. Go to the playlist thing. Scroll down to Rod Hayes with the Young Elder, and you can watch all 80 tapes that me and Rod got out. So we got all the information is already out there in the public, right? Already. I'm talking about like thorough. Like we actually do the research right there live for you, just like we was doing right here. But we got some of them joints that's real live. So you want to go check that out. And like I said, man, we about to be up out of here, man. Peace, Islam, hotel. You know what I'm saying? However you say peace. You know what I'm saying? Hey, divine love throughout the boundless universe to all, man. Peace and love. We out, brother. Wadu.